NRL Grand Final. It's the Battle of Britain versus Australia, because the Sydney Roosters representing Australia, and apparently Canberra Raiders, who've got a couple of English people in there, they represent the whole of us. Sunday morning, is it 9:30 or something?
Yeah.
It won't kick off on time.
It's a 10:30 kick-off. I think they've got all the build.
10:30, there you go. Canberra having beaten South Sydney.
One Republic at the back playing beforehand.
Yeah, so tune in at 10:30. Canberra beat South Sydney. The Roosters beat the Storm. Who will be back-to-back titles for the Roosters? Or
Well, I saw the Roosters play Canberra. I think it's about 5 or 6 weeks ago down at Queanbeyan, and from there, and just total quality. You know, from 1 to 17. I'm not saying the Canberra Raiders are their sheer quality, because they are, but I just feel as though they've got the wool over them. The Roosters on Canberra. Great that the British guys are making, you know, all the headlines down under at this moment in time. Certainly John Bateman. You know, as I've mentioned about John before, he's a freak of a Rugby League player, and he's taken the NRL by storm. Josh Hodgson, you know, if it wasn't for Cameron Smith, easily the best hooker in the world from there. And Ricky Stewart, getting a tune out of all his players, but I just feel as the way the Roosters, Cooper Cronk, his last ever professional games, retiring after this one. We all knew what he did last year, just with one arm. You know, what's going to be like organising this year with 2 arms, fully fit. Want to go on a massive fight. Tedesco, we're just looking at him there, best player in the world at this moment in time. Boyd Corker again, the second rowers, but I just feel as though the Roosters a little bit too much quality. Well, Canberra, I've not been there, Phil, for what, 25 years, is it? 25 years, big occasion. I don't think that'll get to them, to be honest with you, from there. But the Roosters, for me, too much quality. I'm going to Roosters by 26 points to 10.
I think the interesting thing about this game is that there are parallels with what Canberra have done this year, with everything we've said about Salford and Featherstone. There's a real togetherness about this team, and that it's not about are they the best players in the NRL. They clearly are exceptionally good players, otherwise they wouldn't be in the grand final, but they perhaps wouldn't make a top 13, some of them. But what they've got is a coach that believes in them and has given them a reason and a method and a way of playing that they clearly love. And they've nilled 3 teams this year, which is virtually unheard of in the NRL, which tells you that their defence is bang on. And it is defence that wins the big games. So we've got a great story. We've either got the Roosters going back to back, which hasn't happened since 1993, or we've got Canberra winning it for the first time since 1994. I think you're right. On the big occasions, the class players stand up. And I think we saw Melbourne have lost maybe a couple of world-class players over the last couple of years. And when it got to the point in the game last week against the Roosters where they could have exerted pressure, they got it back to 8-6. They couldn't find the play, which was partly down to the Roosters stifling them and partly down to they might have taken the wrong option. I don't think the Roosters will be fazed by anything that happens on Sunday morning. Whatever type of game it is, they've got the players that can cope with it. They've been there and they've done that. But there's something a bit magical about this Canberra team. And it is the influence that Bateman's had. And he's not going to be fazed by being in a grand final. He's coming off a grand final here. Hodgson, who arguably was a player of the match last week. The fact that they beat the Rabbitohs with a man less for the last 10 minutes and still managed to find a way of holding together. I am going to go with the sentiment, and the Raiders I think will win, but this one could be going to Golden Point extra time.
Big call, big call.
I don't watch enough of the NRL, but Sydney played nearly Wakefield's colours. And I used to have a Canberra shirt, the one with Canberra milk on, like a classic one, and it got lost in a house move, which I was gutted about because I could probably sell it for a fortune on eBay these days. Josh Hodgson's very good on the telly, by the way, which is proof that, and they've started to do over here, they should use more than just the same old faces. It's interesting to try new voices. And why have the Australians started having 1 million commentators on as well, by the way? Why have they copied us for that one? I ain't got a clue. I'll go for the Raiders by 2. They've got British people in there. They're like, go on. I know, Roosters have got Ryan Hall as well, so you might get a medal on the side.